session is now called to order. Let us all stand for the opening prayer by our Secretary President, then followed by our national anthem.
Dear Lord, we offer this gathering to you and ask you to bless it with your wisdom and grace. We thank you for this opportunity to be together, to be in all love and service of you and love each other. We ask you to enlighten our minds to know what is true and just, and strengthen our wills to carry out faithfully what we want to see as our duty. May all our thoughts, words, and actions be directed to the learning of your love, every moment of our life, for the sanctification and the happiness, here and in eternity. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Sangguniang Panlungsod members speech, Honorable Agda.
Please raise your right hand for the council speech. I am a Philippine councilor.
I'm a Philippine councilor.
Mandated by law to enact measures and ordinances.
Mandated by law to enact measures and ordinances.
That without the general welfare of my constituents.
That without the general welfare of my
And the
constituents.
pursuit for happiness, peace, and prosperity.
And the pursuit for happiness, peace, and prosperity.
I believe in public service above self.
I believe in public service above self.
As the guiding principle of my official act.
As the guiding principle of my official act.
As I create the pathways of local legislation.
And as I tread the pathways of local legislation.
May the Almighty guide my mind and heart.
May the Almighty guide my mind and heart.
That I shall be true to my constituents and the Filipino people.
That I shall be true to my constituents and the Filipino people.
And now, Mr. Secretary, thank you for the roll.
Honorable Emman Tiu Sonco.
Present.
Honorable Maria Rosindi Daza.
Present.
Honorable Dr. Katrina.
Present.
Honorable Lyra Limbauan.
Present.
Honorable Atty. Cainday.
Present.
Honorable Engineer Melcho Arago.
Patient.
Honorable GLAIZA.
Present.
Honorable Emman Tiu Sonco.
Present.
Honorable Atty. byron. Honorable Atty.
Present.
Honorable Escoto.
Present.
Honorable Agda. Honorable Anacta.
Present.
Mr. Presiding Officer, Lyra, Mr. Members are present. This consent a quorum, you may proceed with your session.
Yes, attested by our secretary, there are 11 members present. The chair declares that we have a quorum.
Narrating to you this explanation of this proposed ordinance. As the chairman of the Committee on Laws and Rules, I have attended several monthly meetings of our SK officials, reminding them that failure to submit their youth profiling is a valid ground for them to be administratively liable. Ano sa po mga problema nga ginawasan kaya nung nalalaman ng hirap youth profiling, and na awag po nila pag susubo ang niraig kasi SK officials kay wala nila tao na kakarawan sa manla manurois na. Anak na ibang SK chairpersons, kinikibanan na nila personal honorarium para lang makakulit nila SK officials. Na-open nila kung pwede i-source out ika nga nila 10% SK fund para makapahatag nila yung minimal ang honorarium nila SK kagawad, secretaries and treasurers. Unfortunately po, under Section 20, Paragraph A of the IRR of RA number 10742 or SK Reform Act of 2015, the 10% SK fund shall be disbursed solely for SK for youth development and empowerment purposes. Also, under Section 423 of the Local Government Code, it prohibits the use of the SK 10% fund as personal services. However,
sorry to interrupt, but you can explain later when it is already to it.
Therefore, I move po to include under new business ordinance granting subsidy as allowances to Sangguniang councilors, secretaries, and treasurers of the City of Borongan under aid to the city barangays, prescribing guidelines for its implementation, providing funds thereof, and for other purposes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Second, any objections? None. So the motion of Honorable Daza is hereby approved. Please take up, Mr. Secretary. Any more amendments? Madam Ferrier.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of the order of business as amended. Second.
Objection? None. So the order of business for today is hereby approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
We now 19 number 7, reading in consideration of the minutes of the regular session held last August 4, 2021.
So the minutes was emailed by our Secretary. So any corrections? Comments? Suggestions? None. So Madam Ferrier.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular session held on August 4, 2021.
Any objection? None. The order of business, the minutes of the regular session last August 4 is hereby approved. Next item.
Okay, now move on to item number 11, new business. We have proposed ordinances. First, an ordinance reverting the salary savings from vacant positions at the Sangguniang Panlungsod for the month of May to July 2021 to general fund amounting to 620,016 pesos and subsequently appropriating the entire sum for grants and donations of this of the City Vice President.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the inclusion of the said proposed ordinance on our, this was for the day for second reading.
Any objection? None. So motion is approved. Next item, sir.
Next, an ordinance granting subsidy as allowances to Sangguniang councilors, secretaries, and treasurers of the City Borongan under aid to the City Barangays, prescribing guidelines for its implementation, providing funds thereof, and for other purposes.
Okay, so the Honorable Daza, you may now.
Honorable Presiding Officer, because we do not have a copy of the ordinance, maybe let me refer the matter first to the committee on SK Federated President and the Committee on Social Welfare jointly for discussions regarding the said ordinance.
This is a short, what you're saying.
Thank you po.
It's a short background.
Mahatagal po hindi tayo ng background. Under the proposed ordinance, magtatagpuan City Government in 500 monthly anatan SK Kalawat, Treasurer ng Secretary, na i-release lang po era quarterly. Antes sila makabiling nga ating allowance, may kapula na requirements. So, kinanglan ma-attend the hearing session, mag-accomplish hearing reports and solutions, mag-attend the mandatory and continuous trainings ng Borongan, mag-attend the project and programs and activities na aritira annual barangay investment plan. Pero hindi po mga 500, pwede po na magbago, para po na committee meetings kung lesser or higher, depende po naman po atin mga budget officers. Pinagi po rin, o nasa, mamumonitor yung SK President na ang performance po anera SK officials. Thank you. That is all.
Okay, so we have a pending motion from the Madam Chair to refer the matter to the Committee on Youth and Social Welfare. Any second? Any objections? None. So refer to the Committee on Youth and Social Welfare. Next item, sir.
Okay, now move on to the proposed resolution. A resolution promulgating the decision on administrative case number SP-20-003 regarding grave misconduct, violation of Section 3G of the Public Act number 3019, failure to render accounts, violation of Executive Order number 2, the people's constitutional right to information, public disclosure and transparency in the public service, and violation of the Local Government Code, Republic Act 7160, filed against Punong Barangay JP Palada and Barangay Treasurer Zen Dalina o Barangay Balot by Barangay Kagawats GBP Libre, Annalyn Catalog, and Melvin Iloso. The decision will be raised by our employee, Ms. Ann Coasiga.
Ms. Coasiga, kindly read the decision.
Okay. Decision. This is an administrative case filed by several members of the Sangguniang Barangay Ballot against Punong Barangay JP Palada and Barangay Treasurer Lyra, Kathlyn, herein referred as respondents for alleged grave misconduct and gross neglect of duty. On 29 June 2020, a joint amended complaint affidavit was filed by J.B.B. Alegre, Annalyn Catalog, Melvin A. Luzon, and Antonio A. Cara, herein referred as complainants. All members of the Sangguniang Barangay Ballot against herein respondents. And a joint amended complainant affidavit complainants alleged, among others, the following. Number 1, Respondent Palada entered into a contract of sale in 2013 in behalf of Barangay Ballot in his capacity as Punong Barangay for the purchase of land located at Barangay Ballot without any authority from the concerned Barangay Council in violation of the Local Government Code, Republic Act number 7160 as amended. Number 2, Respondent Palada entered into another contract of sale in 2012 denominated as legal condition sale for another purchase of land located within Barangay Ballot from his spouses, Crispin and Florencia Abelia, sons authority from the Barangay Council of Barangay Ballot. Number 3, by purchasing the parcel of land from his spouses Abelia, Respondent Palada made it appear that the former were fully paid from the sale transaction and the amount of 575,100 pesos, when in fact, the same is not true. Number 4, respondents failed to liquidate the amount of 540,000 pesos given by the city government as financial aid to the barangay for fiscal year 2013 in violation of pertinent commission and audit rules and regulations. Number 5, respondents failed to liquidate the amount of 200,000 pesos as financial aid from the provincial government to the barangay for fiscal year 2012. Stripped of the non-essentials, the question for resolution is whether or not there is substantial evidence to find herein respondents guilty of grave misconduct and gross neglect of duty. This committee rules in the negative. Grave misconduct. In Commission on Elections versus Nomalinta, GR number 226622, March 14, 2017, citing Office of the Court Administrator, Viesca, AM number P-12-3092, April 14, 2015, 755 STRA 385, 396, it was held that misconduct is a transgression of some established and definite rule of action, more particularly unlawful behavior or gross negligence by the public officer. To warrant dismissal from the service, the misconduct must be grave, serious, important, weighty, momentous, and not trifling. The misconduct must imply wrongful intention and not a mere error of judgment, and must also have a direct relation to and be connected with the performance of the public officer's official duties, amounting either to maladministration or willful, intentional neglect, or failure to discharge the duties of the office. In order to differentiate gross misconduct from simple misconduct, the elements of corruption, clear intent to violate the law, or flagrant disregard of established rule must be manifest in the former. In order to sustain the finding of administrative culpability, only the quantum of proof of substantial evidence is required, or that amount of relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as equate to support conclusion. In this case, complainants failed to prove that respondents should be held liable for grave misconduct. The case and evidence of the court failed to convince that respondents transgressed in the rule of conduct, nor was there any basis to show that they violated certain provisions of law. Entering into several agreements in 2012 and 2013 without authority from the Sangguniang Barangay. Allegedly, in 2012, Respondent Palada as Punong Barangay entered into a contract denominated as Deed of Conditional Sale to the purchase of a parcel of land located in Barangay Ballot. The purchase of the said land was intended for the construction of the Barangay Plaza. Records show that the parcel of land was purchased by the barangay from spouses Crispin and Florencia Abella with an agreed amount of 575,100. According to the complainants, the act of Respondent Palada in entering into a deed of conditional sale was contrary to Section 389, Paragraph 2 of Republic Act No. 7160, since no barangay resolution was issued by the concerned Sangguniang authorizing him to enter into said agreement. Complainants further alleged that in 2013, Respondent in his capacity as Punong Barangay entered into a contract of sale for the purchase of a parcel of land in Barangay Ballot for an agreed sum of 541,000 pesos. It is alleged that this agreement was likewise entered into by the Respondent without proper authority from the concerned Sangguniang. In disputing these allegations, we quote the relevant portions of Respondent Palada's averments in his rejoinder to complainant's amended complaint affidavit. Letter A. That Barangay Council of Ballot drafted Barangay Resolution No. 24/11, Series of 2011, requesting the then Honorable Celestino Cabaco Jr. to allocate funds for the purchase of lot intended for a daycare center and health center. Then another resolution was executed, numbered as Barangay Resolution No. 31/12, Series of 2012, authorizing the hearing respondent Punong Barangay Palada to enter into contract for the purchase of lot in Sitio Libutan, Barangay Ballot, at an installment basis with a total amount of 575,100 pesos in favor of the vendor, Crispin Abilla. Certified photocopies of Barangay Resolution numbers 24/11 and 31/12. Letter B. With the proper authority from his counsel, Respondent Palada signed the deed of contract, sale together with vendor Crispin on 29 August 2012. Letter A. While it is true that Barangay Ballot entered into contract with Juan Maria Abella in June 2013 for the purchase of lots situated at San Pedro Street, Barangay Ballot, Borongan City, this was not one without the proper authorization from the Barangay Council. In fact, Then Council executed 2 resolutions intended for the aforesaid purpose, which were barangay resolutions. Number 30-12, series of 2012, requesting Green City Mayor Maria P.R. Agda to provide, allocate funds for the purchase of lot, and second, Barangay Resolution number 12-31, series of 2012, authorizing herein respondent Punong Barangay Palada to enter into contract for the purpose of lot adjacent to the barangay hall and pay on cash basis the allowed of 541,000 pesos only in favor of the vendor. Certified copies of barangay resolutions numbers 30-12 and 12-31. The third deed clothed with such authority, respondent Palada signed the deed of absolute sale together with vendor Abelia. The transaction went smoothly in 2013. From the foregoing, it is clear that the question agreements entered into by respondent Palada in 2012 and 2013 were above board. Respondent Palada was able to disprove the allegations that these contracts were entered into in the absence of any authority from the concerned Sangguniang by adducing in evidence in aforementioned resolutions. Falsification of documents, malversation of public funds. Complainants also alleged that there was sufficient evidence to prove that the amount of 575,100 pesos concerning the parcel of land acquired from the spouses of Abelia was not the actual amount paid to the vendors. To prove the same, complainants submitted the notarized affidavits of Lyra A. Abelia and Alicia A. Abelia, surviving years of Crispin and Florencia. The statements made by these witnesses were, however, contradicted by testimonial and documentary evidence. Records show that the amount of 575,100 pesos, representing the full amount for the same transaction, was in fact received by Crispin Abelia based on several acknowledgement receipts signed by Crispin himself and Amado Abelia. Moreover, the testimony witness Lorenzo Abelia on the hearing of this case on 17 August 2020 reveals several material inconsistencies. During the hearing, Lorenzo testified that her parents received a total amount of only 200,000 pesos as proceeds for the same lot, which is much less than the amount of 575,100 pesos indicated in the subject agreement. To the mind of this committee, Lorenzo cannot categorically claim that her parents were only paid an amount of 200,000 pesos as proceeds for the sale, since she admitted during the hearing that, number 1, she only learned of the contract price of 575,100 pesos when she was informed by the complainant. Number 2, upon learning of such amount, she did not even bother to ask her parents if the allegation were indeed true. Number 3, it was Kagawad JB Alegre who personally wrote her statement dated 12 July 2020. Number 4, she did not recall if the document signed by her parents was a deed of absolute sale or deed of conditional sale. And number 5, she saw that 4 checks were given as payment but did not actually see the amount indicated on these checks. The admissions made by this witness were fatal to the cause of the complainants. Her testimony is clearly doubtful, thus should deserve scant consideration to merit belief. Apparently, the witnesses for the complainants failed to consider the fact the same amount has to be paid in full by the barangay through an installment scheme pursuant to the deed of conditional sale signed by the parties. More important is the testimony of Mr. Enrico Dolfo, former barangay kagawad of Barangay Balod, who corroborated the vision of the respondents when he testified that he was privy to the transaction in question, since he was then the chairman of the Committee of Appropriations. He also testified that he personally saw Crispin, together with Amado, receiving the full amount of the purchase price for the subject lot on 26 February 2013. Failure to liquidate certain financial grants in 2012 and 2013. The allegations of failure of the respondents to properly liquidate the subject financial aids given by the city and provincial government were not sufficiently proven. This committee took into consideration the fact that no audit findings or any audit observation was issued by the Commission on Audit in connection with this financial given to the barangay in 2012-2013. In fact, based on the records of this case, Barangay Balad was able to liquidate its financial transactions in 2012 and 2013 based on the certification dated 1 July 2020 issued by the Office of the City Accountant of this city. And the absence of any proof to the contrary, there is reasonable certainty to conclude that these funds were properly liquidated by Barangay Balad. Evidently, the imputations made by the complainants that respondents falsified certain documents in 2012 and 2013 with the intent of embezzling these financial funds from the city and provincial governments of Eastern Samar appears to be without basis. Gross neglect of duty. Gross neglect of duty was neither proven in this case. Neglect of duty is a ground for dismissal must be both gross and habitual. Gross negligence implies a want or absence of or a failure to exercise like care or diligence or the entire absence of care. It evinces a thoughtless disregard of consequences without exerting any effort to avoid them. Habitual neglect implies repeated failure to perform one's duties for a period of time depending upon the circumstances. Complainants fail to establish the fact that respondents were remiss in their duties by failing to exercise diligence in the performance of their official functions. As earlier mentioned, respondents were able to dispel allegations of non-liquidation of certain funds granted by the city and provincial government in 2012 and 2013. Contrary to complainants' claim, respondents were able to show that these financial aids were properly liquidated by the barangay. Other collateral issues. The allegation of respondents' supposed violation under Executive Order No. 2 Series of 2016 due to alleged denial of access to barangay records remains to be unsubstantiated. Other than complainants' bail assertions, they failed to produce substantial evidence to support such claim. It is significant to indicate that the average of this EO pertains to government offices under the executive department. At most, this EO merely serves as a guideline to all government units in exercises of its functions. With respect to the claim that respondents violated certain tax laws, this committee has no authority to look into these allegations since by law. The appropriate government agency tasks to investigate and prosecute cases concerning violations of the National Internal Revenue Code is the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Wherefore, premises considered, the administrative complaint for grave misconduct and gross neglect of duty filed against Pulong Barangay J.P. Palada and Barangay Treasurer Delia Cainday is hereby dismissed for lack of merit. Unanimously approved, March 3, 2021, City of Borongan. Next summer.
Can you repeat the recommendations, please, for clarification? Yes, recommendation.
Wherefore, premises considered, the administrative complaint for grave misconduct and gross neglect of duty filed against Pulong Barangay J.P. Palada and Barangay Treasurer Delia Cainday is hereby dismissed for lack of merit.
Madam Clerk.
Honorable Presiding Officer,
Thank you.
This is a manifestation regarding the proposed resolution. But this is not an objection since the decision of the majority will prevail. So for the conclusion that the complaint is dismissed for lack of merit, I would like to maybe suggest to the body that the dismissal is not because it is without merit, but because the complainants failed to prove the allegations. So I move that we amend our resolution to say that the reason for the dismissal is the failure to prove the allegations. And let this be not a, kumbaga, let our barangay officials not be complacent just because we have this kind of decision. Kumbaga, ang mga barangay officials should still do their duty. Because this does not mean that the Sangguniang will just keep on tolerating yung mga actions na direact siya. I just feel kasi, Honorable Presiding Officer, that this may be a precedent for them to be complacent in doing their duty. Their duty is already stated in the law. And aagad na kung kahit ato nagsari-sarili ng konsensya kung inihimo tayo ato na talaga dapat himuon na ato kung taging muraran. I hope itato na ng barangay ballot since the Sangguniang already given their decision, the majority has given their decision, and I hope that this causes harmonization, kumbaga, ayaw na pag tinaraway, pag let us just cooperate and compromise. But the Sangguniang Panlungsod will still be open and we will still be observing and doing our part in ating supervision and oversight function ating mga barangay officials. So that's all, Honorable Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Honorable Cainday. So we have a pending motion by Honorable Cainday. Second?
Second.
Any objections? So the motion of Honorable Cainday should be approved. Kindly take note, Honorable Daza, so any more comments, suggestions regarding the resolution? Okay na? But I hope, let this be a reminder sa ating mga barangay officials na ating Sangguniang is nagpabantay kung nagtatrabaho mula sa pagpiri. Nga dapat din ating pagbantay, hopefully makaintindi na ating mga barangay na dapat nagpabantay na actually din yung Sangguniang. Kasi mga mulot yung maalam na formula kung tama ating trabaho na nasaripan ng Honorable Cainday. Trabaho kita kung alam atin na imuraran para may po pa rin program. So, okay na. So, second, sir,
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Therefore, I move that we pass and approve a resolution promulgating the decision of administrative case number SP-20-003 regarding grave misconduct, violation of Section 3, Paragraph G of RA number 3019, failure to render accounts, violation of Executive Order number 2, the people's constitutional right to information, public disclosure, and transparency in the public service, and violation of the Local Government Code RA 7160, etc., filed against Puro Barangay Jed B. Palada and Barangay Treasurer Delegate C. Kathlyn, both Barangay Balod, Barangay Kagawas, JBP, Alegre, Analin ang tatawag ang movie Iluso.
Second. Any objections? None. So the resolution promulgating the decision on administrative case number SP-20003 is hereby approved. Next item, Sir.
Review of 2021 Barangay Budget in Barangay G.
Madam.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move the bill for the matter to the Committee on Finance, chaired by yours truly for further discussions on the matter.
Second. Any objections? None. So they will refer to the Committee on Finance. Next item.
Item number 12, business per day. We have an ordinance for second reading. An ordinance regarding the salary savings from the vacant positions at the Sangguniang Panlungsod for the month of May to July 2021 to General Fund amounting to 620,060 pesos and appropriating the same for grant nomination office of the City Vice Mayor.
Honorable Presiding Officer, this request comes with a certification issued by our City Budget Officer, Ma'am Alicia Deborah, to certify that there is indeed an available salary savings amounting to 413,344 pesos issued last July 12, 2021, and another certification of the availability of funds amounting to 206,672 issued last August 4, 2021. And since this will be for a very good cause as an additional events and deductions, I move that we approve the said ordinance on second reading.
Objections? None. So the proposed ordinance is hereby approved.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move that we include the said ordinance on our new business other third reading.
Second. Objections? None. So motion is approved. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, an ordinance for third reading is an ordinance reverting the amount to 620,016 pesos for non-elimination of this of the city council. And for other matter, we have a participle.
Okay. I was informed by our chief of police that he has may ibang tindera kaya tirada ng pagpapaksin. Second, Sir Secretary.
This item is announcement.
Announcement. Any announcement? Sangguniang Panlungsod ko friend ating sponsor ng lunch. So, iba yung nagkakain. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Adjournment.
Honorable Presiding Officer, I move for the adjournment of our 97th regular session.
Second. Any objections? None. Our 97th regular session is now adjourned.
Sumali at makiisa sa halalan sa COMELEC magparehistro. Ang tunay na Kristiyano ay makabayan at responsable na nakikiisa sa